The Business Bully Show is being brought to you by Audible. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, Audible has something for your brain, your body, and your business. Get your free 30-day trial and get yourself a free audiobook download by going to audibletrial.com/bully. Let's go ahead and get this show started.
He's been an award-winning media personality and producer. As a speaker, he's empowered over 1 million people from the stage. Now one of the leading business coaches and brand experts is taking over the world of on-demand audio. It's the Business Bully Podcast. Now here's the Business Bully himself, Dave Anderson.
Ladies and gentlemen and lady friends, it is that time. Welcome to the Business Bully Show. I am Dave Anderson. Of course, you already knew that. What you don't know is I have been stalking this man for years, and I'm so excited to finally have him on the show. A lot of times people look at the star, the person in front, and very rarely do you understand that there are a group of people and usually one focal person behind that star who is actually making things work. You know, when I was producing Ricky Smiley's show, most people didn't see me. They saw Ricky, and that's how it should be. And as a comedian, it's also important sometimes to realize, okay, this person is hot. Let me go ahead and push this person out. I can always feed him jokes. Ladies and gentlemen, a writer, a producer, an amazing cook, a multimedia mogul, an amazing philanthropist, an all-around great black man and human being. Ladies and gentlemen, the wind beneath Mr. Steve Harvey's wings, if I dare say so. Rushion McDonald is on the show. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it. I'm on a landline, so there should be much clarity in our conversation.
Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness. Well, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's about it's a great day. You know, the weather's clear in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm based at right now. I also operate out of Houston, Texas as well, where I have a home there as well. So I do my iHeart radio show, podcast, Money Making Conversations. So yes. It's a good time in my life.
Yes, I do love Money Making Conversations. Those are my favorite ones. That's why I do this show.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations to you, man. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
Well, please. Here's my whole thing about success and what I do. It's about giving back, and not just because I have to. It's a necessity. You know, so many people have helped me through my life with advice, through just saw a talent in me and just pulled me aside and said, you are so much better than what you think you are. And that's what Money Making Conversations is about. It's about telling people you can do much more than you are capable of. Just listen and follow some advice that has been proven and a person with experience. And here's the steps. And I think that's important. You got to know the steps, because a lot of people motivate you to success, but they don't provide the steps.
Absolutely. It's so true. A lot of times people are so busy selling the sizzle and not really the steak. And it's a lot of hungry people out here who don't have,
yes, it is.
Have the means or don't have the ways. But if they just understood what the steps were to follow, they'd be able to make something happen.
Yes, because, the bottom line, any change in a person's life is going to be halted by fear, because fear is tied to unknown. And when you don't know your next step, then guess what? You're frozen. It's like anything. If you walk into a dark room, totally unlit, you're cautious in your forward movement. You feel around. And that's how people are in life when they're making decisions that they can't see. See, when you go to work at your job that you currently have, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what you're going to get paid. But that doesn't exactly say that's the best path for you down the line. And a lot of people stay in that routine, frustrated, complain, feel, which carries over to their personal life, and they have no fulfillment of success opportunities. And that's what my goal in life is, to let people know you can be successful. You listen to what I'm saying. Just if you don't believe me, Google me. There's a pattern of success tied to my name that should lend a high level of credibility when I speak.
I mean, without a doubt, for people who don't know how much you've done, I mean, I got to run it down because I refuse to let you toot your own horn. I'm gonna toot it for you. You got Family Feud. Jamie Foxx Show, Sister, Steve Harvey, Jason's Lyric. I did not know about Jason's Lyric. That in and of itself is crazy. Think Like a Man 1, Think Like a Man 2. My God, is there anything you don't produce?
Well, that is, first of all, thank you for the credits. When I look at my life, and my life's not over with. I'm on a different journey. It's a journey about Rushion McDonald. I built so many brands. I'm talking about corporate brands, TV show brands, managed Steve Harvey to an amazing level. And don't get me wrong, Steve Harvey is the most talented person I've ever worked with in my life.
Right.
You don't get where you're getting in life unless you are tying yourself to talent or corporate branding that can enable you to be successful. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You just can't throw a rock up in the air and expect it to fly. You can hope that you're throwing up a bird up in the air and then hopefully it can fly. Now if the wing is broken, you mend that wing to health and then it can fly. Mm-hmm. And so we're not talking miracles. We're talking about strategic planning on my part, evaluating my current state versus a futuristic opportunity, and that's what this is all about, man. It's like, and that's what my conversation with everybody's all about. Look at where you want to be a year from now, not 30 days. That window's way too short. A year from now, where do you want to be? Now, if you can't see that, then you're not planning your future. You're just living week to week, month to month, and that's not a happy lifestyle. That's not a lifestyle you can control. You can only control your future if you start thinking out 6 months minimum, maximum a year. If you start planning your life that far in advance, you are changing the outlook and the goals of your future.
That's amazing. So let's talk about all the things that you're currently doing right now.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Because I think that that's important. Don't get me wrong. The stuff with Steve is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But you're more than that. And I don't want, I like when I put Ricky in the syndication, yes, and I rocked with him for the amount of time I was with him to get him in the 30 markets.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And to take that show that had one market and then grow it to 30 wasn't an easy feat because 6 other producers failed before I got there, and I did not want that to be my legacy. It's a great feather in my cap, but I've done so much more. I've spoken to 1 million people from the stage. I have, a program right now called Black Boys Win, which is focusing on entrepreneurship because everybody's not going to be a Rhodes Scholar and everybody ain't got a Rickett jump shot and everybody can't rap,
And, first of all, you are a prime example why I smile. You have a resume, first of all, and you have a resume of legitimacy. I always tell people in life, you have 2 things that you're trying to focus on. You're focusing on the resume, and you're focusing on the hype that's tied to the resume. Mm-hmm. The goal in life to make sure that everything in that resume that you're hyping about is real. Now, when it becomes very real, you can move forward. Because generally, when you have a resume, you may fudge employment windows. You may fudge salaries. You may make, and some people even fudge degrees. And with that being said, they're not traveling on a plane that's going to keep them moving forward successfully. Because eventually, the truth is going to come out. Mm-hmm. Truth is going to come out if you really know that software that you say at the level you say. Truth is going to come out if you really are degreed like you say you are. Mm-hmm. The big issue that I'm having with anybody who refuses to acknowledge that there's better opportunities out there, just look, is that you're afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're afraid.
No, absolutely. Fear kills more dreams than no ever did.
It does. And that's why I constantly preach that to everybody I speak to, and tell them also, I'm afraid every time I make a decision in my life. I'm afraid.
That's right.
Every decision I make is tied to fear. Mm-hmm. Because it's so comfortable just to lay in your bed and pull that cover up over your shoulder and just snooze, dude. Mm-hmm. But eventually you have to get out of bed.
Yeah.
When you get out of that bed, what is your next step or your first step? That's all I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, it's important. So, let's talk a bit about Money Making Conversations. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
how you came about to do that show, what that show means to you, and, you know, where you've been going with it.
Well, Money Making Conversation is a platform I was doing on my Facebook page for about 18 months.
Right.
And then this year I decided to use it as a promotional tool to launch my brand of 3815 Media, which is my production and marketing and branding company, and Rushion McDonald. That I felt that it was time for me to really define who I am, find my voice, because I felt that the brand of Steve Harvey was so big over me that I didn't have a voice. I felt like I was Steve Harvey Jr. And when I walk in the room, I always felt that somebody was expecting Steve Harvey to walk in right behind me. Where's he at? And because we had branded, we was joined at the hip, and we were just mega stars. And the mega star relationship was he was talent, I was a producer, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And so I decided that in Houston, Texas, where I'm originally from, and it was my launching pad for my success back in '92 that made me so popular and kind of steered me to everything I'm doing today. When I opened my comedy club, Hip Hop Comedy Stop, back in '92, with my business partner at the time, David Rayborn. And so I went there to do 4 weeks of just, I would go get all my celebrity friends to call in, and they did. Patti LaBelle, Charlie Wilson, Anthony Hamilton, Cedric the Entertainer, Wendy Raquel Robinson, Layla Hathaway, Michelle Williams. All these people called in over the course of 4 weeks. It was like 4 to 6 celebrities per show. And I was just using that to build my brand, to get my name out. And that is very important to establish who I was. But I didn't really know whether they was calling me because of Rushion McDonald, or were they calling me because they felt I was still associated with Steve. And so that was important for you to hear that, because you cannot, in any path of success, it cannot be driven by the unknown. You have to find out what is going on. You have to find out what is the true course, what is your voice, what is your pattern, what is your opportunity for success. And so the first 2 months, it was really celebrity driven. And then finally I went, something, that's not the show I want to do with Money Making Conversation.
Right.
I want to talk about industry decision makers, or talk with industry decision makers, CEOs, small businessmen, and celebrities to discuss their secrets to success. That's the show I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now, the original show I was talking about was, talking to celebrities, talking to people about their financial issues, giving them career advice. That was my original show. But that show never jived in my head. The show I'm doing now, I'm talking to everybody. And I'm very comfortable talking to them because it's from my point of view. Because as you mentioned earlier in my credits, I have done so much. My degree is in mathematics. I've worked at IBM, so I have a corporate background and management and executive training. I have been a writer on a sitcom. I have produced and created reality shows. I've executive produced all types of shows. I've executive produced movies. I book comedy shows in every arena in this country, from the Phillips Arena in Atlanta to Madison Square Garden, New York, to the Nokia Theater in Los Angeles, California, just to name a few. No theater in this country my name or the brand of Rushion McDonald has not been associated with as a powerful producer, based on the fact that I was associated with Steve Harvey, and we were selling out everywhere.
Right.
So with that, it then created the Neighborhood Awards, which is the most amazing community award show in history.
Right.
In history. Not
Period.
just kind of history, in history. And that ran for 14 years. It commanded the entire strip of Las Vegas. When I say that, is that we were in the MGM. We was in Mandalay Bay. I'm talking about our guests, and shows were produced. Signature Hotel, Four Seasons, Luxor, New York, the hotel, which is now Delano. And so that right there was just a basic urban show that was so impressive. Wasn't on TV. that we was able to get the top hotels in the country, in the country, me in Las Vegas, to believe in us. Then we came to Atlanta, Georgia, did the same thing for 2 years. So with that being said, I am who I am because I put in the work. I'm talking to you on this phone because I know who I am. And the key to this conversation is, if you know who you are and you know your voice, you can be successful. But if you don't know, you'll be frustrated and you'll stumble.
Wow. No, it's the absolute truth. For you, and I've always wanted to ask this.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's like, and I can't imagine, because for black folks, the hoodies, or the neighborhood awards, which it had to become as Steve's brand began to develop and grow.
Absolutely.
The hoodies, I'm just going to call it the hoodies because it's the hoodies.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
The hoodies were a pinnacle thing that I feel like, like this is, and this is what I tried to explain, and I'm not being funny, but if we're going to have a conversation, I believe let's have a conversation. This is what I try to explain to Tom and them. Like, you can do all the Sky shows you want.
Yeah.
But them hoodies? Hey, dog, hey. Because you have conversations from people in Chicago talking about their barbershops is true. You got people in Philadelphia talking about how they got better rib joints than people in St. Louis. Like, it became a thing where the community all of a sudden went from being this massive thing of 13 million people to this small knit family reunion every year.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, quietly, the neighborhood awards just went away and nobody really got an explanation as to why.
Well, it was just tied to Steve's career and my career, and we promised ourselves. And let's put it that way: that doesn't mean the neighborhood awards is over with. I will tell you that honestly. But I had to figure out my career, and that's what I'm doing right now. And he's, of course, out there figuring out his career.
Right.
He has 15,000 TV shows on, and congratulations. And because I made a major impression on most of them. Right. But it's like. Because that's what I'm doing. Like I said, when I currently I got Money Making Conversations. Just wrapped up the TV One show, Evidence of Innocence, hosted by Benjamin Crump. I'm also just signed a deal to be the marketing firm for Benjamin Crump's new national law firm. I just signed a big deal with my partnership with Jacob Side, where we have the Air National Guard contract for recruitment and retention. It's $100 million deal with a one that we just signed on September with this opportunity, and so that's taken up a lot of my time. And so all these things are just things that are important to me, and I'm about to launch a big documentary in Houston that's going to be launched in 2 weeks, where I'll be shooting and redeveloping 10 small businesses in the city of Houston that were affected by Hurricane Harvey. And so all these things I wanted to do for Rushion McDonald. For Rushion McDonald. And so I'm getting these things in place, so when we and I believe we will come back together, my brand will be firmly established. His brand is established, and when we do the show, and believe me, everybody will be so excited because it is the most requested and why did it stop statement that I get on a regular basis. And I'm sure he gets the same question too. Of course. But we are just, Steve texted me the other day complimenting me on my Air National Guard reward that I got that was in the newspaper. So, there's no animosity between he and I. It's just that we did something very, very special. In 2000, we came together. I was a sitcom writer, and he was a stand-up comic. And we changed the world. Yeah. We changed the media world. We changed daytime television. We changed syndicated radio. We changed game shows. And I'm proud of that, man. Yeah. And I'm proud of that. We changed the literary market. We sold a book, 3 million plus copies, and changed, and it was translated into 30 different languages. Act like a lady, think like a man. The people said, well, who would listen to a black comedian talk about relationships and take him seriously? Well, 3 million people did. Yeah. And 2 movies later, they did. Yep. So that type of relationship you can't walk away from.
No, not at all.
You can't. But like you said something interesting, that you're developing your legacy now. That's the same thing I'm doing too.
Yeah. No, it's important. It is important because you don't want, I don't think anybody, even if you're not a comic book fan, you know who Batman and Robin are.
Yes, sir.
There was a point where Robin grew up and said, I'm leaving the Batcave. He took off that red and green, he put on a dark costume, said, I'm Nightwing now. I'm a grown man. I'm out of here. And I think everybody, every producer, every EP, every background singer has that. And if they don't, and if they didn't have those things, like if Luther stayed behind Roberta Flack, we wouldn't have a house is not a home. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just, that's what it comes down to. Sometimes you got to say, you know what? I'm great by myself. Jay-Z says, if you made Jay-Z, go make another one. And that's what it comes down to. I think we don't spend enough time, really valuing ourselves, not only through our accomplishments, but through the gifts that God gave us. So having said that, what is your take on young people? Especially because it seems like, and I had this conversation with some of my contemporaries and some younger kids, that it seems like all of the old guard won't pass the baton. Les Brown is still kicking, George Frazier's still kicking. You have, folks who have been doing this since I was watching PBS when I was 12. I'll be 40 next month. You know what I mean? How does a young person, get to the next level, not necessarily by stepping on toes, but I can't make somebody pass the baton. Do I just go up to them, kick it in, and snatch it like a gangster rapper?
Today's medium allows you to develop your own brand, and that you don't need anybody's permission. Those old batons were developed. We had to go through, relationships. We had to, contracts. Now you can just get a YouTube channel or social media page, and you can become a star if you're consistent with the brand that you're preaching. That's the key, though. Consistent with the brand that you're preaching. My whole thing is that when Tom announced he was leaving in 2 years, proud of you.
Right.
But there's so many internet radio shows out there. There's so many. There's podcasts out there. There's so many famous people out there. There are way more famous people now because of social media in the history of famous. Okay.
True.
In the economic eye is that we are not able to. There's a different type of fame, though. See, back then, you clearly see Chris Rock is famous. You clearly see that Dave Chappelle is famous. You clearly see that Steve Harvey's famous. But there are way more famous people in social media than they are, but on a different level. On a different level. So it's up to you as an individual is to bring your fame to the mainstream. See, if you take it to the mainstream, then you would say you won't worry about them passing the baton because you have grabbed it already, but you're not telling enough people.
Yep. Good stuff.
So when I hear that, I push back and say, you got it going on. You just have to make your information recognized by the mainstream. And how do you do that? By being consistent. And when you do something, you promote. You promote. You promote. Not to just your base, but to the mainstream.
So from your situation, what does promoting to the mainstream look like?
Well, here's a classic example, is that most people know that I'm a baker.
Right.
People know I'm a baker maybe as much as they know that I've represented Steve Harvey. So I was just baking at the house. And so what happened was I would post pictures periodically on my Facebook page, and I went, well, I would notice who was following me, and I went, if I could become consistent at this. When I was consistent, I mean post something every week that and created a theme for it. That's how I developed Perfect Bake Time with Rushion McDonald. So this summer in the month of June, every Wednesday, I started posting at 9 a.m. Wednesday, a new video, dessert video from my recipe pack, Perfect Bake. 2 million views later, people think I have a TV show. I get stopped in the streets. People take pictures with me. That's the general market. Now, if I was inconsistent with that, then my brand would not be recognized as it is today. But I'm in your face. See, it's called marketing. If Target decided today they would stop marketing, you would think Target is closed. If McDonald's stopped running ads about their hamburgers, then their sales would drop. Same thing with Chick-fil-A. Same thing with Burger King. That is what I'm talking about, communicating with the general market. Now, they wouldn't exactly close, because guess what? It's some people going to always find McDonald's.
Right.
They have a base. It's some people going to always shop at Target. They have a base. But if you're trying to reach the general market, you have to talk to them on a daily basis and be consistent about it. And that is the conversation we're having right now.
That's powerful. That's powerful. What do you think is missing from today's landscape? Like some of the things that you didn't come up with the internet, neither did I. I was in college when the internet became mainstream. So what do you think some of the things that you have to do from a marketing standpoint that still work today that don't necessarily involve the internet that you see a lot of internet darlings not doing? Like what advice would you give that they could take from you?
Here's the deal. In 2007, when the social media kind of hit my eye, I was resistant to it because Steve and I had 1 million, fan club members in our email list. So, that's the way it was. That's how Tom was blowing it up. I wanted to stay with that route, and it was working for us. But social media makes you relevant. That's very important to hear, because if you say you can control people, dictate their traffic, create engagement, then you become relevant. So this is all about relevancy moving forward. Now, where you find your relevancy, whether it's Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or some other new medium that pops out there, then go for it. But be consistent about it. And when you're consistent about it, know that brand that you're going to develop is going to be the brand that's going to define who you are. Now, if you're a bikini model, don't suddenly try to switch gears now. If you out there bikini modeling, and you suddenly don't like that image anymore, but you got 500,000 Instagram followers because you're a bikini model. So know whatever you develop, whatever your base is, it's going to be different. And so it's the same thing with me. My initial social media was developed in my relationship with Steve, all the shows we did together, Family Feud, the talk show, and all that. But as I stopped posting those relationships on my Facebook, my likes started decreasing. So it started to be about who is Rushion McDonald? Why should I follow him? And so my goal and point was to develop my brand so people could feel a need to follow me, a purpose to follow me. And that's really, honestly speaking, how you define all these relationships.
Man, that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk baking. Because I'm fat, so I like food. So
a lot of people, skinny people, like food too now.
Hey, that's true. That is very true. Let's talk baking. Like, you don't necessarily, I think, you got G Garvin. You don't see a whole lot of people out here who look like us in that conversation, and I feel like you're killing it when it comes to just putting out, recipes and getting your message out there. What was the catalyst for you to decide, okay, I'm going to go in this direction? With everything else that you got going on, money-making conversations, your background, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's like, yeah, I bake. Now I'm going to put this out in the lexicon and see what happens. How did that come about?
Right. Well, first of all, I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It's something I never did in my life until I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't play golf. So I don't have any hobbies. So baking became my number one hobby. And I became very good at it based on posts. People go, when I would do television shows, I always said, man, people actually thought my baking wasn't real. They would touch it. They said, can we eat that? Yeah, that's edible. And so I knew I was a little bit different in that regard, because of the fact that I was never trained. All these baking skills were natural. So you said fast forward, I launched Perfect Bake Time with Rushion McDonald. We're in season 2 right now. Like I said, season 1, which was this summer, delivered almost 2 million Facebook views. And so with that being said, and a tremendously loyal following of women all over this country, North Dakota, Oregon, Nevada, Vermont, in South Africa, England, these people follow me as bakers because I can bake. So now I'm just trying to wrap my head around that entire market share. So Chef Jannard Wells, who's a former Food Network star, he contacted me. I interviewed him. I said, look, I really want to develop your brand. And if I develop your brand, then guess what? It'll further establish my brand in the direction of food. Because you look at my Facebook page, I have Rushion Eats, which allows me to tell people about my favorite restaurants around the country that I'm recommending. And if you go on my RushionMcDonald.com, you'll see it's pretty nicely set up. So you can click breakfast and it'll tell you all the great breakfast spots that I've been into or been recommended to go to around the country. You can purchase seafood, Cajun, soul food. All these options just pop up around the country, and you can click it and the phone numbers and everything. Then you have Baker Spotlight. That's where I spotlight great homemade bakers around the country. Very popular segment on mine, which eventually is going to lead to a book. That's going to lead to a book called Baker Spotlight, The Homemade Baking Stars. And so that's on my website. And so so what I want to do now is take somebody like a Jannard Wells, which I've been doing for the past 5 weeks, and building his brand on a Saturday. And I told him, look, man, if you can get 20,000 views cooking for me, because I didn't have cooking. And so I didn't want to share any more tasty videos, delish videos. I want to share original relationships. And I felt that he was an original relationship, and it would be pretty cool. And it's been amazing, man. I now run him on Saturday, and I replay him on Monday on my Facebook page.
Man, so not only are you cultivating new content, but you're also repurposing it and growing 2 brands at the same time. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, you must know what you're doing.
I try, sir. I try.
Man, let me tell you something. Trying is for people who fail. You are succeeding, man.
But I think that when you try, at least means you're putting forth effort. But when you try with a plan, you're putting forth an effort with a reason of a high level of success tied to it. Because you got to have a plan, but playing with expectations and goals. Like when I launched them, like I told him, I just wanted 20,000. I felt that would be good. If his cooking videos can generate 20,000, that's a good start. So his cooking videos have been generating 60 and 80,000 views. So I'm happy for him. But it's also benefiting him because his brand is being developed on my Facebook page, but also developed my brand more and more in the food arena.
Yes, that's amazing. So, I also see you're doing some endorsement work. You've got that scale. Are we gonna launch a set of like Rushion McDonald baking products? Like I feel like it needs to come. Like like Paul Newman got salad dressing, George Foreman got the grill.
People are asking me that, and I'm just to be honest with you, there's a lot of cool things on my plate right now. I'm being strategic about it, about who I'm talking to, why I'm talking to. My plate is very, very full, but I try to have time. I have time. This is an important interview for me to do on your show because of the fact that it's needed for people to understand why am I doing what I do, why it's important that my message be heard and consistently told to individuals that can hear me who are listening to your show. And we build our brand relationships, and that's what this is all about. And so as I move forward, and when I move forward in a very happy state, it's about telling people that you can be successful too. And here are the steps.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the Mr. and Mrs. Rushion and Cicely McDonald Scholarship.
Yes, sir. This is a funny story. It's a funny story. That is based on the fact that if you have a math and science degree plan at the University of Houston, where my daughter is now attending, University of Houston, she's a freshman. She was formerly on the World Tennis Association professional tour, and she shattered her knee. And so now she's a freshman in college studying mechanical engineering. Very proud of her. And very happy that
Congratulations.
She's in that direction. And so my goal and her goal, her degree is in optometry. My wife is a doctor of optometry. And my degree is in it's in mathematics. And so we didn't want to give out small scholarships like $500 or $700. So I asked the counselor at the University of Houston, what's a good scholarship number to help out a student each semester? And they told me $2,500. So we started giving out $5,000 qualifying scholarships to students. And so far we've graduated more than 20 students in the math and science and optometry fields over the last, 4 years. So I'm very proud of that record. Two of them are graduating this semester, and then one will graduate in the spring. And so so my wife and daughter and her mom, we were leaving the University of Houston football game the other day, and they just erected this giant cougar mascot, growling cougar mascot in front of on the front of the stadium, huge. And so I was walking by. And I looked down, and I looked at my wife. I go, is that our name underneath the name of this statue? And it was like, we didn't even know.
Wow.
We didn't even know that, at least through my lifetime, our name is going to be Rushion McDonald and Dr. Cicely Mitchell at the base of this statue, cougar mascot, at University of Houston football stadium for a long time.
Wow.
And so it's things like that they realize if you're doing good, and if all your goal is just to do good, then you'll be rewarded. And that reward for me was tremendous because I never saw it coming and didn't expect it.
That's amazing. And that's the thing. My mom used to tell me all the time, because I used to look at my mom and be like, Mom, you do so much to so many people, and sometimes they don't even say thank you. And she said, you don't grow weary doing the right thing.
Yes.
And she said, you got to keep pushing, and I wanted to talk to you about that because for me, I got really frustrated last month because I was looking, I've got friends who do amazing things, and a lot of them are geared towards young black women. You got Beverly Bond doing Black Girls Rock. There's all these wonderful programs for black girls, and there are some things for black boys. I mean, you've got Steve's retreat every year. But I didn't see anything that was really gearing young black men towards entrepreneurship. And I looked like I'm scouring the internet, but I saw nothing like what I looked like. And I said, I said to my audience, hey, I want to do this thing for young black boys. And everybody's like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready to do some work. And everybody's like, yeah, you go do that. And it's like, I don't mind doing the work, but it's like, why is it so hard when we start talking about our young black boys to get the support that seems to be outpouring for our girls? I have 2 daughters. I don't have any sons, but I know what I would have had if I had that structure in place, if I had a baking course with Rushion McDonald, if I had entrepreneurship lessons that can teach me how to have a hot dog cart business. Why is it so hard, to cultivate things for young black boys to get the support?
Yeah, here's the deal: is that you have 100 black men out there. Okay, I don't know exactly what they do. That's like I said, whether they in that entrepreneurs field, but I know it's about empowering the youth in America to a positive direction. Okay, now. When you start developing these relationships and you start trying to create an opportunity to be successful, it's about who you're talking to.
Right.
And the way you do that is by, and I was trying to do this with Steve's camps, you have to create software. Mm-hmm. And you create this software where you track these students. And we kind of did it with the Dreamers Academy, the Dreamers Academy with Disney, where you track these students and you see where they're going to go over the next 4 or 5 years, and you get this data and all these things. There are a lot of good programs out there, but it's not hidden. So that goes back to what I was just saying, is that if you want everybody to know, you got to let the general market know. Didn't I say that earlier?
Yes, you did.
Dr. Steve Perry is doing it up in the Connecticut market, also in the New York City market.
Yep.
But he's not letting the general market know. Mm-hmm. And so you go, is anybody doing these? Yes, people are doing it. Mm-hmm. And so, but it's all about branding and marketing. Mm. It's all about branding and marketing. At what level you want to brand and market? That's why I said the 100 Black Men is doing it, but I don't know what they do.
Right.
Is it because they don't let the general public know at the level I feel they should do? Yeah.
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 You know, I don't know what you do. So, so even though you're a recognizable name, you're not branding it and marketing that I would know. I'm talking about the general populace know. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that we have to look at when we're trying to do our messaging. You know, and some people, and then you have all these fraternities and sororities. Right. They're entrepreneurial. You know, they're out there running programs out there. Mm-hmm. But again, the message of what they do get lost because we're not communicating with the general public. Mm. If you're not communicating with the general public, then you are just a name, Omega Psi Phi, a.k.a. 100 Black Men. Mm-hmm. You know, all these things. Now, Black Girls Rock is exploding. You know why it's exploding? Mm. It's in the general market. Hmm. Everybody can see it.
Yep. I don't argue with logic.
I'm just letting you know, man. If you don't let people know what you do, then guess what? They are not interested.
Absolutely.
If Chick-fil-A don't tell you they got the best chicken sandwich, they're not going to stop there and buy it.
Yeah.
It's all about marketing. It's all about branding. And marketing and branding go hand in hand because you have to consistently market so people can understand what your brand is. And if they understand what your brand is, then it creates engagement. Mm. Whether engagement is, you know, following you, buying your product, or promoting your product. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. No, it makes a lot of sense, man. You know, that's why they pay you the big bucks.
I try. I really do try. I try to be consistent with the big buck flow.
So, what? And this is one of those questions I ask just to see a glimpse into where you are, where you see yourself. What do you think your biggest career regret is?
I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
What do you think your biggest career regret is?
I think that I had an opportunity to do a comedy night at Igby's Comedy Corner in L.A. Mm-hmm. And I opted out of it to do the Improv in Santa Monica, which was a huge mistake because Igby's, my audience would have found that club. The Improv, they never found that club. And I turned around a couple of months later and did that same format in Houston, Texas, called the Hip Hop Comedy Stop, and it made me the star I am today. It gave me the lanes and opportunity. And I always wondered what would have happened if I did the same thing in Los Angeles, California. But I'm not wondering too much because I'm very happy with my life.
Oh, no, that's right.
So, but that if you said, Rushion, what would you have done differently? I would not have moved my comedy night from Igby's to the Improv in Santa Monica. I always think about that, and I know that was a mistake.
Yeah. Now, for you, did you do it because you thought, because the Improv is such a brand name that it would be a better stage for you?
Yeah, I thought so. I've learned in life just because a radio spot is cheaper don't mean more people are going to hear.
Okay.
And so, same thing here.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah, no,
it was a cheaper opportunity for me to get in the room, but guess what? Nobody found it.
Nobody found it. You know, and that's important, man. Cheap can sometimes be more expensive.
cheap don't work for nobody.
No, okay? Really don't. It really don't. Cheap only work for the birds because all they can do is go cheap, 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 cheap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So where can people find you? What do you want them to know? You know, what do you have going on right now that you want to push?
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited about my website, Rushion McDonald, RUSHION, McDonald, like the hamburger chain, .com, RushionMcDonald.com. Go there and learn about me. Go there and learn about a guy who did it his way and is still doing it. A guy who's very relevant. It's a beautiful website that shows that I have a team around me that demands excellence from me because they made me do this website. They felt I had to do this website to showcase who I am, and so I have people around me that forcibly are creating the brand of Rushion at the next level because I did it with Steve, and so I willed a lot of things that happened in his life a certain way, and he's reaping the benefits of it. And so I'm surrounding myself with people who are forcing me to do the same thing in a positive manner. That's all. RushionMcDonald.com. You can catch me on social media, but if you go to my website, RushionMcDonald.com, you'll find the world of success of what I've done in my past, what I'm doing currently, and what I'm going to do in the future.
Yes, indeed, and it's a beautiful website, man. It's very well maintained. It's very succinct. You know, and you got your John Hancock up in there, so that's always a good thing.
Yes, sir.
But you can see every aspect of who you are on the site, and I feel like that's extremely important, man. So, again, you know, I'm a huge fan of your work. I always watch The Man Behind the Curtain. I don't care what the Wizard of Oz tells you.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
you know,
pull it back, man. Pull it back.
Yeah.
He might have skinny legs and short pants on, but he's doing it.
Well, you better pull that curtain back because that's who you want to watch. It ain't the man on the stage; it's the man behind the curtain.
Absolutely, I appreciate you, man.
This has been such an honor for me, and
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on the show. And
thank you.
You know, I hope this
send me the link, and I'll play it back on my drive it on my Money Making Conversation page, which is at Money Making Conversation, and I got over 26,000 followers on my Money Making Conversation page. And so please do get that link to me as soon as you want me to have it, and I post it and put a boost on it. Okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that, man.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Take care. All right, y'all. So that was Rushion McDonald, man, an amazing individual, phenomenal dude. You know, so make sure you check out Money Making Conversations. Make sure you check out RushionMcDonald.com. That is going to do it for the Business Bully podcast this week. Also, real quick, I want to make sure that you guys know that Black Boys Win is happening. We are getting started. We're starting to create the courses and do all those wonderful things. And if you want to donate to the cause, you can. You can go to bit.ly/blackboyswin. Again, bit.ly/blackboyswin and make your donations. We look forward to seeing you, and I'll check you out next time. You take care. Peace.